Hello, I'm IBX3Cat and welcome back to episode 297 now of my Minecraft Xbox Update Adventures Let's Play. This is a Let's Play where I've been playing through the various updates that have come out for Minecraft on the console, building stuff, killing stuff, and of course, destroying stuff. And my favorite example of destroying stuff sometimes is the desert, because just look at that thing, it's just non-stop torches all over the place. I think we're actually about 50% done there, so that's feeling pretty good, but it's not the focus of today's video. No, instead, the focus of today's video is all of this wood that I've gone and collected by destroying. In fact, you know what, we're going back to destruction every 10 seconds by destroying pretty much all of that forest over there. It's like 70% gone now. I think I'll finish it off sometime, but I'm just not sure what I'm going to put in its place. So I guess building ideas are appreciated, but yeah, I want to do something with that space because it's like an almost hill, but it's actually quite flat to build on. So I feel like there's some perfect, like, it's also like a triangle shape. I think there's something perfect to be done there. I just have no idea what it is. So yeah, that's, I chopped down all the trees over there, and I got myself a bunch of wood, and you can work out from the fact that I'm standing on some wood that, well, you might be able to work out that I'm going to be, you know, placing some stuff to make this whole, you know, like railway thing work. And the big thing about this that I haven't done yet is actually make the under rail system down here actually properly work. Because obviously what I'm going to need is I'm going to need a place for the redstone torches to go, like I have over there. And that's why I built this giant pathway that now follows the entire thing, but I don't have the little thing next to it for the redstone torches. So I'll do that today, and then we'll maybe go, you know, like, work on the stuff over there that I've been, you know, working on in between videos, because that's what I want to spend some time doing. And as always, while I do that, why don't I talk about what I've been up to this past, I guess, I'd say past week or so, but like, I guess, yeah, like week-ish or so, because I have to record this video again, because as this video goes live, I've just returned yesterday morning from Strasbourg in France. It was one of those things where, I know this is one of those things that sounds ridiculous, but it really was just like, oh yeah, there was a flight that was, I forget, it was literally £8, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, I don't even know if I'll have my passport back from the Russians yet, but I still want to kind of go there, so I bought the flight, and I was like, we'll work out the rest later, and that's how my life has been going. So hopefully I went, maybe I didn't, we'll discover in the next week. And you know, actually, honestly, I feel a little weird whenever I mention the like out of continuity. Yeah, out of continuity, I guess. It's weird. You say words differently based on the context sometimes. But yeah, basically, one of the things I realized. Oh, geez, that was scary. One of the things I realized is that I don't really feel comfortable all the time talking about the continuity of you know, my life and stuff, because honestly, sometimes when other YouTubers do it, it makes me be like, oh, so you weren't really there then. This was like 2 weeks ago. It almost like ruins a feel for it, because YouTube is, you know, I feel like YouTube is trying to force down more and more new stuff as opposed to like the old stuff. Like, if you don't know, I have 3,500 videos. Most of those videos, maybe like, let's call it 48 hours after they've gone live, most people have never recommended them again nowadays. That seems to be the new trend on YouTube, no matter how much you try and push back against it. And I feel like because of that, like, you want everything you experience, because everything you experience on YouTube is, to be new and fresh and what's going on right now. Like, you want me to talk about what's happened in this past week or so. I know, I think France did something, and so I think Britain did something, and America probably did something too, and no, I don't actually know what major news happened this week. There isn't actually a lot of it, because everyone's so focused on all those things those countries just did. And yeah, I feel like there's almost expectations that like everything's gonna be current. I'm gonna talk about May the what date would it be as this goes live? I'm going to talk about May the 15th and all the exciting things that happened earlier today. Like, oh, guess what? I was tending to my lawn. I don't know where that happened today. You know, the sun rose today, and it was probably an okay temperature some places, and a not very good temperature other places, and a little bit too hot in certain places. Am I right? California or whatever, probably California, why not? So yeah, that's I feel like that's almost the expectation, right? Because in real life conversations, you know, one of the things that makes YouTube great is that in real life you get to talk about what's happening right now, because in real life you can't have conversations that are delayed a week generally. I mean, people used to do it with postcards and like pen pals, I think they're called, but you know, it's not a common thing in the modern age to have this conversation on a delay. But yeah, that's what we're doing right here. So yeah, the world might not exist by Monday, but let's hope it does, and let's hope that I went to Strasbourg and that I have my passport back, because again, the Russian embassy took it, and it's a little scary to just give your passport to another country because they swear they need it. But again, it's probably gonna be fine. I've probably done things amazing, and also this week, as well as that, I've also been I guess I've been like bouncing back and forth between like, oh geez, that's terrifying, bouncing back and forth just a little bit between like you know, like being on the crazy most strict like regiment ever to being like, you know, I'll do whatever I want, because honestly there is this certain relaxation almost in both those forms to me. Like, sometimes you want to be like really, really tough yourself, so you get the like good rewards of like, yeah, I worked so hard today, or I ate so well, or whatever it is. You know, like there's something in your life that you don't want to do that you know you should do. It feels good to do that sometimes, but on the other hand, it also feels really good when you don't do it. And I feel like my life is just a balance between like doing as little as I can and doing as much as I can, and because that's something that roughly describes how I live most events. Like most, you know, this is something that's really common with programmers. So if you are one of those or you know one of those, then maybe this matches them. But like the idea of being lazy working hard to be lazy is something that I know is like a fairly common idea, and I think it's actually also. How am I going to check if these are double? Okay, I'll remove them every now and then. But yeah, the concept of like working really, really hard so you can be lazy is one that like really appeals to me and really like kind of matches who I am, and that's what I've been up to this week. So I've been. It's kind of hard to be vague when I haven't like done like a big thing where I can be like, oh yes, well the security guard in France said, "Ooh, oui baguette," and I laughed. But you know, that probably happened. Let's just assume it did. That French people, am I right? So yeah, that was my last week. But while that was all happening, one of the things I've been like super curious about. Also, yeah, I've noticed in the Let's Play there's like a kind of like a attempt to just talk about like, oh yeah, so this roadway is really important. But you know, I'm sure you'll know what's going on with this. I can talk passionately about it when we start and finish projects. But a thing that besides the whole yeah, I guess a thing I've been thinking about a lot, because again, that's part of what we do here too, is I guess the whole sorry about that right there. I actually just got over like an illness too. Like my voice sounded so bad for like a week's worth of videos, and because of that, you know, slight delay. If you're curious, by the way, it's like sometimes 2.5 or 3 days between when I record videos usually and when they go up. Sometimes there's exceptions for like news videos and stuff like that. I'll bump everything forwards, but I like to have those 2 days there because they convince me that I'm doing this because I want to and not because I have to. I think that's important with anything that you love, to make sure you're always, you know, reminded that you love it and you're not just doing it because you have to. Because doing anything because you have to, I know, for me at least, I should say, it's just not always my favorite thing. So there you go. There's a little bit of tidbit like before I move to my next thing, which is I guess the whole idea of like, again, on the balancing of like, oh yeah, so sometimes I like to work hard, and sometimes I like to be the laziest person in the world. Wait, we'll place these on the way back, so let's get some more slabs out now. But yeah, sometimes I like to be the laziest person in the world, and I think something that's like important for like either work or doing nothing is to just turn off your brain every now and then. This is something I recommend to anyone who ever tells me they have sleep issues, which, by the way, statistically speaking, like, you're on the internet right now. I upload these videos at 9 PM UK time, so you're probably watching this sometime late in the night when, you know, there's a chance you should be sleeping. In fact, I've heard some people watch my videos to get to sleep, and I have no idea how to feel about that. Like, is it good that my voice is relaxing? And in fact, you know, this is a very personal story, but like one of the people I knew very closely that also watched my YouTube channel, you know, like would do it, like had actually done it once when I was in the room with them, and it's like, you know what, it feels a bit weird to wake up to my own voice as you're falling asleep to it. But anyway, but besides the point. Let me mention the fact that basically, I think if you want to get to sleep really easily, my number one tip is to just turn off your brain altogether, which I know it's such an easy tip to think about, but like the way I describe it is like, think of black, you know, black nothing, the darkest black you can think of, because, you know, that's no information, or maybe it's all the information, but either way, it's not an interesting thing. Like, picture black right now, it's not a very exciting thing, but then if you picture, you know, that dark black, and what's going to happen is your brain, if you're, you know, not getting to sleep easily, it's probably going to like force some thoughts onto there, like, oh yeah, so what about flowers or grass or neverwalk blocks, or, you know, real life thoughts like, oh yeah, what about the oven? Is that turned on? Or whatever your brain does, you know, everyone does this because that's how you have problems sleeping. So you know, that's what's gonna happen. And my tip then is just to like brush them away and like keep thinking about the dark black, because like the black has to like unlighten in your brain to fix it. This sounds complex, but it works for me. And my point is that also works when you're awake, I think, to like de-stress yourself, because I think like we're basically robots as humans, right? Or a lot of people are basically like really poorly programmed robots. I've said that theory before. I'll say it again. People are just bad robots. That's what we do. We'll be replaced by the robot overlords one day, and then we'll realize that, oh yeah, this was a horribly inefficient thing. But in the meantime, before we're replaced by the robots altogether, one thing that's worth knowing is that you essentially function like a robot a little bit. Like, you're just, you know, everything you do is that same kind of thing where, like, oh yeah, everything works predictably. And one of the things that will work predictably in your brain is that you'll kind of think about things to keep you awake. And to stop that, just think of black, brush the thoughts away. It does it well. And if you're trying to do jobs, what'll often happen is you'll You know, you'll think there's this big task ahead of you that you have no idea how to do, and you'll spend so long stressing about like how you have no idea how to do the thing that you waste most of your time just stressing and achieving nothing. Like honestly, being stressed when you're doing something that's kind of stressful is hard enough it is. But most people, I guess, when you get stressed, you go into this like shutdown mode of like there's so much to do, so I'm just gonna do nothing and maybe sleep instead. That's at least that's my experience of like high stress tasks, right? Or like things you have to do. It's not a fun thing. It's not fun at all. And that's why I recommend, like, every now and then, just pause, do nothing. I think this is basically meditation I'm describing, but, sure, call it meditation, call it whatever you want. But you want to, like, make sure that you're, like, you know what you're doing, you know why you're doing it, and you know that everything's, like, pretty okay in the long run. That works for me. Maybe it works for all of you. It's not really, it's kind of tangential to what I'm saying, but I think I just gave some good advice out. Or I gave some advice that I like that helps me, that maybe helps at least one of you. So, yeah, there you go. Turn off your brain. Your brain thinks it should be turned on because your brain is your brain, but use your brain to turn off your brain, even for 10 seconds. Like, for me, 10 seconds of, like, gonna do this now is enough for me to come back and be like, whoa, I'm so pumped to do this, and maybe that's just me, maybe I work faster than people, but even then, turn it off for 30 seconds, a minute. Take a nap. Don't really take a nap, because honestly, this is why I used to think taking a nap was a really good idea, but taking a nap is just like losing time to sleep, right? Like I like to do it sometimes, like, sometimes you can nap with someone and that's lovely, but a lot of the time, if you just take a nap at home because you're so tired, that's just like, if you like, you want to focus a little bit, you basically, at 2 p.m. you lie down in bed, 4 p.m. you wake up and you're gonna go straight back to the stuff. Never really been a fan of that. I think sleeping is just like almost lost time. You need to lose the time because, again, we're these biological robots or whatever, but it doesn't mean that it's not a it doesn't mean it's not something you should necessarily avoid. Also, I think I did the whole pathway down there, so now I have to make these redstone torches, but I have no idea how often I should place them, like every 7 blocks, every 6 blocks, every 5 blocks? Do I have a lot of gold? Do I not? I really have no idea what I'm doing here, so just kind of bear with me on this one. But yeah, speaking of biological robots, because I just said it, and therefore that's a thing. How about I place a torch here to represent the starting point, and maybe also like a single plank, just so like I know this is the starting point, and then we'll go like every 6th block or something. I could go more often than that. Let's just place them randomly, see what happens. I'll place down the rest later if something goes wrong. There we go. Random is a good solution if you want to talk about biological robots, because I said that as like a way to describe how we are, right? Because humans are bad robots. That's a thing. But biorobots is like a real thing. They called the people in Ukraine, like so when there was the giant reactor disaster. 50,000 people used to live here. Now it's a ghost town. That stuff. When the Chernobyl reactor went off, they sent in like a bunch of people, and they're like, oh yeah, you work here for, I think it was like, you do 1 minute of work or like 1 day of work, and we pay you this much. And it was like an absurd amount of money. But the catch was that the people were really being sent in to like, because the amount of radiation you'd get from 1 minute of being next to this thing was enough to like permanently kill someone. So I guess permanently kill. But that goes without saying, doesn't it? Like, oh yeah, well, at least it didn't, permanently kill them. Only a very temporary death, fortunately. But no, my point being is that was a real thing, and those were called biorobots. And that term is like, whenever I say that term, it's like, oh yeah, that's got like a dark history to it. And I think though, like a lot of things have a dark history. I don't think we should forget things just because they're dark. But I think like the further back you go, the less bad you have to feel that something happened, right? And again, this sounds terrible. It sounds like I'm trying to like forgive something that happened in the past, but I'm not. I'm just saying, like, humans from 10,000 years ago, do we really have to feel bad for what they did? Like, I bet one of my ancestors must have murdered someone, right? Like, that's probably a thing. It's probably not even that many generations back. I bet like 5 generations ago. Guess what? My great would it be great? Yeah, great granddad, murdered someone because they had some bread he wanted. Actually, 5 generations back isn't enough for bread murder. Let's call it like 10 generations back then. Like, oh yeah, so because you have so many ancestors at that level. Like, if you have 16, no, you have 8, no, you have 4 grandparents, 16 great grandparents, and oh, I did the maths wrong. Whatever. Point being is you have like a lot because it doubles each time. So I have like tens of thousands of like 12th generation ancestors. One of them probably murdered someone, but it doesn't mean I should feel bad for it. I don't care. They murdered someone. But I'm not gonna, and that's kind of fine. And I think I don't know what the point is. We should probably argue what that is. But sometimes I think like, what? Do we really have to feel bad that humanity, like 2,000 years ago, we killed this animal or whatever and just wiped it out? Like maybe we should feel bad, but like I didn't do it. I don't think any of you did it, and therefore I don't. So that was my point. When we kill the pandas, which will be like, in, let's call it like 20 years or something, we should feel bad, but you know, our children or your children, that they should feel bad, right? That's my point here. That's my point. Or maybe like, oh sorry, great grandchildren or something. They shouldn't feel bad, and I wouldn't encourage them not to. So there you go. That's my thoughts on Pandemic. I don't know why that wasn't something I was thinking about this week. That's something I just kind of followed the train of thought onto right now. Something I was thinking about a lot this week because I haven't actually been to a cinema in a while, even though I want to watch the new Guardians of the Galaxy version 2, or not version 2, the second. It's not called Guardians of the Galaxy 2, it's got like a weird name, but you know, the second one, the one that's not the first one. I wanted to watch that because I haven't watched the first one, and I hear it has the guy from Passengers and Parks and Rec, and you know, he's a relatable dude that can also play a superhero. I'm curious about that, and it's also meant to be good, and it's by Marvel, and it's one of their like 50 superhero movies a year that everyone says you have to watch. So I figured I'd go do that, right? So, but yeah, I do want to watch that, but I haven't been able to this week. So let's chop down some trees, by the way, because I want to get some wood for the wood factory place. Yeah, my point being, so actually, you know, let's also check how it looks from underneath, because it's a little bit patchy, but I think it looks better. It almost matches that, but it's a little bit more sleek because we used half slabs, which, by the way, smart little move right there. This is the first time in like ever in this world that I remembered, oh yeah, half slabs will save me half the time, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, like I was saying, basically, so cinema is something I think about a lot, and there's something weird about like, because I've been again, I'm going to take a tangent on this tangent, and trust me, it's important this time. It's not Toy Cat just being like, oh, you can't stay on one topic for 10 seconds. This was a tangent on that tangent of that tangent though, so this was a bad idea. But like I was saying, basically, staying on some form of strange semblance. So one of the things I like to do in London is like try to explore and see as many things as I like. Partially because it's such a big city and there's always there's something better of everything that I do that I just haven't found yet. So I like to try and see if I can find that. And partially because I know that like I like to guide people around it, and I like to every now and then someone will see, I'll be able to show someone something. They're like, wow, I didn't know this was a thing, and you've just shown me 2 of them that are way better than I would have figured after hearing the thing. Like, you know, there are bars in London where you can drink and play video games. Wow, that's kind of cool. There was the Flight Club I went to this past week. Oh, that is a thing I did. I went to Flight Club in London. It's like a darts bar with an electronic scoreboard. It was cool stuff. I was really happy with how it went. I think they even mentioned me on Twitter, so isn't that wonderful? But yeah, basically, I feel really cool when a company mentions me, even if it's like just a tiny thing. I shouldn't be such a fanboy for it, but apparently I am. So there you go. Now I understand how people feel when they say, notice me senpai, and I notice them senpai. But yeah, staying on the track of the cinema thing. So I've checked out maybe like 20 different ones, because I want to find the best one. I think I found it, but I'm just checking anyway at this point, like, oh yeah, well, this is the best one, but let's see if we can find like a second best or something. And I went to one in the O2 Arena. It's near Canary Wharf, if you know London. If you don't know London, then Canary Wharf is a place you recognise from Doctor Who, so it's in the Doctor Who place. Yeah, basically, there's this giant cinema. It's called the Super Screen. It's like meant to be the largest screen in the UK -1 or like -2. I don't know why you'd advertise like the second largest screen, because if you wanted the largest screen, you probably wouldn't settle for second. And if you didn't care about the largest screen, then you probably don't care about the second one. I'm just saying, it's a little bit strange, right? But my point being, it's like the second largest screen in the UK or something. And I was like, let's give this a try. And I did exactly that. And it was like, oh yeah, well, it's just a really big screen, but you sit further back from it because it's so big, and therefore it looks like a regular size screen. Like, there was more seats in the cinema, but they weren't filled because it wasn't a popular movie. It was Ghost in the Shell, in case you're curious. Would recommend, maybe. Probably not, actually. But yeah, basically, I'm going very off track what we're doing here, but this river needs to be drained. I know this is the 3rd episode. Let's just do a tiny bit when I talk about Ghost in the Shell, hey? Yeah, my point being is, basically I watched like Ghost in the Shell. Pretty good movie. It's like a 6 out of 10. It's like okay, sort of, maybe. And I went to watch it on one of the largest screens in the UK, and it was just like, it's the same experience with a regular movie, because it's just a same size screen further away. It's the same way how like watching something on your really big TV and watching something on a phone that's next to your face or a tablet, it feels about the same because you just put it a different distance away, right? And this is something I've always wondered be like a killer business idea. So if anyone out there wants to, cut me in for halves and, make some money, then here's an idea, right? Make a TV, but the TV, instead of being like bigger and bigger like technology seems to be getting, why not just make it so it's a regular sized TV, but like it moves towards the audience. So picture it like hanging on a wall right now, right? It has loads of pistons in it that push it towards your face, so it feels like an 80-inch TV, except it's really a 20-inch TV just right next to your face. I feel like that is genuinely a genius idea because the pixel density can't improve a bigger screen. In fact, it's the exact same. It's just you can sit further away from it. The same thing. What if we just made a TV screen that could go close to people? That way, we wouldn't have to cost, I haven't looked into expensive TVs in a while because I don't need one, but I imagine, it's going to be somewhere in the thousands for the highest end TVs. Instead of spending like 10,000 on a TV, why not just get a 200 TV or, whatever price is reasonable for a TV and then give it some pistons so it can become the 10,000 TV. Boom, business idea. You'll make trillions if you invest in the Toy Cat business pitch. I would entirely recommend it. And if you want to fund that, make sure you go to youtube.com/IVXToyCat and subscribe. Or like donate or something. Actually, can I talk about that a little bit? Because there aren't many places on YouTube where it's appropriate to talk about the whole ad revenue thing, right? But I feel like this Let's Play is probably the closest thing to that. And a lot of people have been curious. A lot of people have been like donating and being like, oh yeah, so I've heard what's going on here. Honestly, the YouTube Adpocalypse thing is like getting worse and worse by the day, which is concerning. But I think it's really good that like at least all the other forms of YouTube all the other ways YouTube are doing it is like getting better. So like YouTube Red, if you can get it in your country, it's such an amazing way to support creators now, just by comparison to bad ads. So like for instance, one of the things I like that people have been doing recently, which is amazing by the way, is fan funding. I mean now, like I get less of a cut from it. Like YouTube takes 25%, but like people have been donating a pretty healthy amount on that, and it's like, oh, now I can be more concerned about like the viewers, which not to say that it wasn't before, but it's nice that can be a focus as opposed to like, oh yeah, well if I don't have 500 viewers on this stream, then someone comes to cut off my hands in the night. So that's my point. I just wanted to raise all of that, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone who has been checking out the streams. I think they're going to become a bigger part of the channel because I've always wanted them to be. It's just like finding the time in a week to make. I make 14 videos a week. Plus I like to travel. Plus live streaming for an hour or two every night. That could get tricky, but it's something I do want to do more of. And to everyone who has, like helped that be a thing, I'm appreciative of that. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say in this video. I hope you did all enjoy it. Next episode, I'm going to use all this wood that I have left over and also chop down some more trees. And I think we're going to get working on that wood factory. You might think, Toy Cat, what about the big 300? And let's address that right now, actually. For episode 300, I'm going to do something special. I think the most popular idea when I asked was like, oh yeah, do a super long live stream. 300 minutes of live stream, I don't know if I could do that. I don't think it would be entertaining content after hour 4.5. But I do want to do some form of special extra long event. Like I'll maybe drink some, caffeinated energy drink. I'll like set aside some time. Maybe I want to do something special, and that's something you can expect. So I think I'll start a new project, like an insane farm or something, in episode 300. So I look forward to seeing you here, there, and everywhere in between. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.